Namaste. So anyway, I just finished doing the video. So in comes Siddhananda, and as usual, as always happens, a discussion occurs, and halfway in the discussion, going, should be recording this because she's still in the path, hasn't quite, is very at the very end point of it, but she has walked a lot of the path, been with me for a lot of years. How many years now?
About 16.
Almost 16 years. She's been with me since that's right.
Right after you.
Right after so I had become a guru, right. and came back from India. She was one of my first disciples. Was there
since 2000.
So since 2000, yeah. So it's been quite a few years. If she's walked anything and knows anything about this path, it would be her, okay? Because she has been with me from the beginning.
And a blessing.
And so we were talking about, I was just sharing with her a little bit about what I had recorded today about the path and about bhakti and about meditation and how this path works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was saying that, before I met you, I had started meditating real strenuously, at least 5 years before meeting you, and just going more on Buddhist texts and things, and just, kind of creating my own mixture. Right. But you were mentioning the bhakti path and things, and with your path, the way it's been experienced here is it's such a blend of bhakti and as well as the straight down the line cutting through and challenging and surrendering and is that Gyan, or what is the name for the direct more the
Gyan is wisdom.
Yeah, but I was there's another one, maybe just the more direct, cutting, I guess.
Right. It's more a direct cutting through. Exactly.
Yeah. So, and I just, at least here I can say, possibly with yours, that's the blend that's so beautiful, because I think sometimes some of it can just be very dry. But what this path has lent to it is this beautiful heart.
Yeah, because no matter which way you go in this path, you have to stay in the heart center. Whether you're doing bhakti or whether you're doing meditation, you have to stay in the heart center. Mm-hmm. I think really kind of the difference between the two is, one of them, in bhakti, you just see it as an external deity, something that you are surrendering into,
okay, there you
versus understanding that it's an energetic happening, okay? But make no mistake, when you're in Kundalini, the phenomena happens. We were just talking about that. Yeah, you can see the deities, you can see these different God aspects absolutely manifest in front of you, and Shiva doing the dance of creation and destruction, and you can see them. You can experience it directly. 100%.
You do. So it's not like it works, at least with Kundalini, at least for here. I mean, certainly there's certain, I guess, things to keep a focal point that you have in your environment. But with Kundalini, at least here, once that fully opens, all of that just is within your own being that comes flooding out in these manifestations and changing shapes, and then moving again and shifting consciousness and perceptions. But certainly with those gods and all of it, I've seen all of that here, and dancing, manifesting in front of one, as well as just moving through, and all of it. You just
Well, when you're going through the path, you're experiencing your own world, everybody is in their own world, their own reality, their own existence, and everyone has to challenge their own existence and their own viewpoints, etc., to break all of that down, the illusion and the dream states of that, to come to that primal is.
One really sees that walking through this, that one is very much in their own in fact, even more so, I feel, since, Kundalini awakened, because you're just so internal with this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just so all-consuming many times. And then when that breaks, the times that it does, it's like, it's such a shift that is startling. Like,
it can be very startling when it first starts to break through and stuff. Some hallmarks on the path are the first time the mind stills.
mm-hmm.
The first time you enter quietude and everything drops, and it's like, you're looking and there's no revolving thought.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that still.
Yeah.
That's a big hallmark. Or the second hallmark, first time you enter oneness,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel that absolute heart expansion, and you're connected with everything, everything that is your part and parcel of it. Second hallmark. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you come to the point where there's a great falling away, where you go through that death experience, and you're coming to that point where very close to the end, you'll have a lot of experiences of the buildings blowing up,
mm-hmm.
and all sorts of things that are showing a deconstruction or blowing out. You'll have a lot of those types of dream states and visions, and I think you can talk to.
Oh yeah, just a little. I'm the vision woman.
You've experienced a few of them, one or two. Yeah.
What's interesting though here is that when I first met you, and I believe you were in India, because I still recall this, you had come to Seattle, and then you were in India for a little while, and it must have just been maybe even a couple of years after meeting you, but it was the very first time that the I fell away, and it was very brief.
Yeah.
And that definitely was, and I wrote to you about it. I think I still have that exchange. And, so with here, I saw the buildings blowing up and things around the first year of meeting you. And here I am 16 years later. So, it's not like, I guess at least with the journey here, it's never been like, okay, I've been through this stage and it's done, and then this and I'm done. I really feel like it's just continued to, whatever is taking place has deepened, and then there's been longer and longer versus, okay, this is done, now I'm in this stage and this stage. It just, at least here, that isn't the way it's
Right, it
come.
takes a little while for everything to deepen. But yeah, even as she's saying, in the beginning of the path, it wasn't too long that the first falling away of the I
mm-hmm.
took place for brief cognition.
Yeah.
And then things get deeper,
Yeah.
Longer samadhi, different samadhi states will happen, until one falls away into that final samadhi, which doesn't come and go any longer. One remains in that samadhi.
Yeah. And I can see here more too, as I spoke about the slowing with the body and the mind here, and I can really see more and more, so clearly how that is an energy, and you just kind of see that, how it just, and then sometimes it just feels like this misty, it's just so misty many times that
mm-hmm.
it is so thin, and it's so, and then it's like a thin mist that just kind of fades.
Right.
Here, and I can see that, and there are times, and I'll bring this up now, the last few nights, there's this thought that comes up, I'm going to die.
Mm-hmm.
It's
no, people
dying.
want to ask, and they think it's bullshit. It's not bullshit.
Yeah, no, I'm
you
not
really
kidding.
go through the death before death, and people don't understand. Really, you think you are going to die. I mean, no joke. Physical death is what it feels like. And that's towards the very end. In the beginning of the path, it's all love and bliss and happy. And then
that's no joke.
That's no joke. And then the
there.
lessons get more difficult and more difficult and more difficult, especially if you have an awakened Kundalini, which is taking you through all the levels and layers of consciousness, etc., all these experiences. But the very last experience, I've said before, it's like, you're in Grand Canyon, pitch black, there's a ledge there, and yet you're compelled to go forward. And it's feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And I guarantee it was no joke when I sat down on the banks of the Ganges that day, had no idea this was going to happen, sat down, went to go into the meditation. All of a sudden, that was this overwhelming feeling of death. When I just said, I knew I'd done everything I could do at that point in the path. There was nothing more I could do other than say, on the altar of truth I lay myself, and, God, whether I come through or I don't, it's in your hands. There's nothing I can do, and let go. Mm-hmm. Absolutely surrendered into that, and then next second, it was gone. But overwhelming fear. At that point, you're absolutely terrified. You don't know whether you're going to be possessed, whether you're going to die, but it feels like overwhelming, absolute terror is at your doorstep. Okay. But it's like instantaneous when it's total surrender. At that moment, it's like, boom, there's no you, no world. The eyes are no longer seeing a world. They're not seeing anything. One is in this space of just divine is. And again, it's more real than anything one can see with your physical eyes or touch. Yeah. Overwhelmingly, it is. And at that point, the identification with the ego breaks. It never was. I never lived, I never died. I've never been that story that was constructed. I have never been that. And then all the former things, like the Bible said, have passed away. All those things are gone in one instant, and one is, what one says, is reborn into that spirit, or just simply is that paramount is.
Yeah, well, it's such a blessing to hear you speak on this, because I know, and this is true, I'm sure, of many when they first start this journey, they don't know where it's supposed to end or where it's leading, to them. And I think the biggest fallacy within themselves is that I'm going to be more peaceful, I'm going to be enlightened, and you don't know. You don't know through your own ignorance.
Me is going to get it. You're right. It's an intellectual exercise. That's what they think. It's an intellectual exercise. Yeah. I'm going to see it, and I'm going to rationalize it, and I'll get it. It's not an intellectual exercise. No. It's an absolute happening.
It's a direct experience. So you have to directly experience these things. Yeah. I think with here, though, I just didn't know where it was going. I didn't know. I mean, I just know within myself I wanted that purification and that peace, but I was so ignorant as to where. I don't want to say ignorant, I just didn't know.
Right. Ignorance not as stupid, but just one doesn't know, and that's it. I was very ignorant, I have to tell you. When I was young, I sincerely asked to walk the path of Christ. Right. I mean, you're in ignorance, and you're absolutely 100% sincere, but you don't know what you're asking.
Well, see, you don't know
you don't
type thing.
Same thing. When you're really sincerely seeking God, and you're really praying with absolute the sincerity of your heart to be open and to understand God and to walk, you don't know what you're opening yourself to.
Really, and it's best you don't, because you just have to go through it, and as you and if your heart's open, what is needed comes, the right timing, and that's what's that's how it works. And so, and whatever you have to walk through, and you can't get out of it. That's the bottom line.
One has to walk through. You do. A lot of people will have to go through the dark night of the soul. I mean, and it's not a joke. You'll have demonic things coming at you. Not a joke. One has to learn how to not be taken in by these things. These are lessons, and especially if you're going to be a teacher, you have even more lessons and more experiences that you have to go through, and have to, that it can't be an intellectual thing that you read about it. A subject, no, you know it to the depths and heart of your being, because you have absolutely experienced it to the maximum, and that's the way it has to be.
Right, and when you speak, then it can be spoken of as an absolute conviction versus something that some transient passing shadow, which is a whole different thing when people speak.
Right.
It's not, it's a lasting, and what needs to be traversed. I mean, you went through it yourself. And so much, it's amazing what one goes through to come back to the same place in stillness. It's like, wow, it's something else. But
exactly.
Yeah, but
it's such an odd journey. You make the biggest journey of your life, and you've gone nowhere.
Yeah.
It's that's the way it is. You start, and then at the end, it spits you back out into divide a life, and what's left but to live life. That's it. But you're on I say at that point you're on a whole different level,
right.
though.
Oh,
there is no more delusion, occluding anything. The mind is not filled with a bunch of drama. All of that has been blown out, remains blown out. You remain in this sahaj samadhi, an effortless samadhi, People ask if you meditate. I don't meditate. The mind is still. It's a meditation all the time. You meditate without meditating. You just are simply in that. It's an unchanging samadhi that doesn't come and go any longer. So yeah.
Instead of being in a constant altered state, like I am.
Instead of a constant altered state, yes.
Yeah, or
all
perceptual shifts,
right,
and
all the
imagery.
All the visions and the kriyas and the automatic motions and all of that stills. Eventually it blows out. Like I said, still after realization, you can still, it took a while, still, there were still some kriyas and things that were happening after that for a good, 6 months, a year, 2 years, maybe it was even longer than that. But it was in Seattle, out when living over by the lake, when the last happened.
Mm-hmm.
The very last kriya, and it was basically throwing me around my room that night.
Okay, that's a daily thing for me. So
I'm
glad that
so
it does
even after realization, you can have some kriya and things, motion and stuff that's still taking place. It's kind of like that wheel is slowing down.
Yeah.
And then just before that last crank, it just like really kind of like spins like, and then it's gone. It breaks and it's done. Mm-hmm. And then no more of that arises, none of that arises. The only thing here that takes place with any of that is still, if I am doing energetic work for somebody, then, to balance them, whatever you're doing with their energetic field. Again, you feel the energy starts going this way, and the body will be going, and then it goes the other way, and then it goes like this. The energy just goes straight up, and then it settles.
Once you feel it settle.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel that even when I do energy work on myself, I know I go.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the way that it'll go. It'll go one way. It'll go the other way. Yep. Then all of a sudden you feel it just, this vibration that goes up, and then all of a sudden it's just boom. It's just,
but that's nice.
You reach that balance.
It's nice that that's all after 20 years of Kriyas. Believe me, I've listened to this since I first met you, and I was like, really? This stuff goes away? It's just kind of, really? You can live without all this being thrown around and tongue out and visions and yoga moves, standing on your head? And,
exactly.
Please.
Well, that's what I like. Like I said,
I wanted to grab onto your feet and say,
I find it's funny when they, like Nietzschean people want to come and, make me, Kali's going to get you.
Oh,
Kali told me. Kali told me you're a demon.
Oh, God.
And they have no idea. When you're going through Kundalini manifestations, you go through a Kali period exactly, and the tongue is out.
Oh yeah.
That you got the thing, and this energy is permeating, and it's no joke. You experience Kali fully. 100%.
You almost become it. It comes in your whole body.
You become Kali. I mean, really, it becomes Kali, and the tongue is out, and the manifestation, and this energy is there. Like I said, I've had experience before when I told somebody, you have to leave, and you have to leave now, because I could feel that energy of Kali, and this one was no joke come up, and it was so strong. It was like liquid fire that was going to be coming out of the eyes. And I said, no, you need to leave now for your safety. Leave, go. And only once I've experienced that. It was like a raging roar just coming up through, and it was no joke. It's not something you ever want to feel. The force of that psychic force of energy that can come up. That was basically that type of a Bhairab destroy energy, because it was just liquid fire coming up, and just was going out now just before this, because it was coming through anyway. But these ones on these paths, and they want to come and, like I said, try to curse and try to do all these things. They have no idea what they're playing with.
These energies are no joke.
They're no joke. So they're in the little spin. They have an experience. They've got maybe some oneness that they've had, a few little experiences, but they don't have a clue.
Even what energy is in that way. I mean, that way, when you go through something like this, believe me, energy inside and out,
Well, that's it. And this, and that's it. You go through all the levels and layers of consciousness. Each one has a different energetic value, and you have to pass through all of them. Absolutely all of them. From the lowest fight and flight to the highest pinnacle. All of them.
From the demonic to the ecstasy. You do the
from the
whole
demonic to
range.
The ecstasy. 100%.
And in between.
100%. 100%.
Absolutely.
100%. You go through all of that. I know that when the one stage, like I said, no joke, you're sitting there, all of a sudden you hear somebody in your ear, in your ear, and you're like, you're hearing these things. And one point I was surprised my hair didn't turn white, because you could feel this negative, the most demonic negative thing, coming, basically. And you're just like this, and you have to learn the lessons of how to fight it, how to dispel it, how to, not to give it energy, how to dissipate this type of thing. So all of these experiences you have to go through.
Really, and I think, with here, there's been encounterings that were really disturbing as well. And before I met you, I didn't know I really did sit in a corner and cower for a while. And then I just had to get up. I had to, I had to just keep living life. I had to.
Exactly.
And, meeting you, there has still been, it's amazing, so much that has come, but thank God for that grounding and staying steady through it. And I'll mention this now, when we were doing the messages, there was that one ghost, the one that wanted to be around me. Right. And I had never once felt a spirit on me, clinging to me, grabbing my hair.
Trying to cling.
It wanted to be with me.
Right.
And it was, I was alone in my place, and I could just feel this energy, almost like an amoeba energy all over my body. It wasn't painful.
Wanting to attach. They those type of spirit like that, they want to attach, and they want to suck your energetic field. They want to suck and draw off of that.
Want what you have. This person was a jealous energy, or whatever was here, but and again, thank God, and I can't believe how that was managed, and thank goodness for Guruji. But this is what I did. I just kept breathing. I kept saying the mantra, which those Kali mantras are so intense, and thank goodness those were there. Right. And I did go in, and I have that space where I meditate, and then your picture's there, and Raman and all that, and that's where I laid down whatever energy, and it never bothered me through the night again. Right. And then it was dispelled.
And that was it. It dispels it. So if you know how to use these energies, they are very powerful, and they do work. It's no BS with it at all.
Oh, it's no.
But you've been with me too in the retreats, and we've had a couple.
Oh yeah.
Has experienced directly a couple in retreat that came, and they had these demonic energies in them, just spewing and sputting and growling and spitting and saying they want to tear me apart and all of this drama. And what happened with them?
Oh, you just, I think you touched one with one finger and they just sort of went limp. I don't
That's
know,
it.
Something like that.
One finger.
Yeah.
You have no power over anything. You are of the shadow. You are not of the light. What power do you have? One finger, boom, and that was it.
They just went limp.
They're gone. It's gone. That's it. It's finished.
They were, they didn't have anything there, after that. But it certainly tried. It was really kind of ridiculous in a way, the way it looked, in the end.
In the end, yeah. Well, that's what these demonic type forces do when they, enter somebody and they take them in whatever thing they have taken in. They want to sputter and spew and growl and curse and all of this drama. Yeah. But, if you are absolutely in that light before lights, there is nothing they can do. Absolutely nothing. They make a big show.
Oh, yeah.
They make a big show. Sputter, spewing, literally spitting and spewing and growling and, growling. Unearthly growls are coming out. And, yeah, absolutely.
Totally that. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But they have no power. They have no power.
Yeah, no, that was done quickly, and that it was really ended up being a very helpless, powerless energy.
Right.
Once that, whatever, that outward, growling and all that, when that just, once that just opened up and nothing's there.
Right,
It's just a powerless thing, really. It was, if you looked at it, you could almost, you don't want to laugh, but it was, okay. That was kind of...
Sure scared a few people in the room at the time.
Did. And I'm sure
they were looking like their eyes.
I'm sure they could hear it in the hallway, too.
I'm sure you could hear it in the hallway, too, as well.
But he came out kind of, right?
Yeah, afterwards he was kind of a little depleted there for a while.
Little bit. But didn't come up again that way.
Didn't come up again. No, that was the end of that. But anyway, that's why, when these ones, they want to come and they want to try to curse and they do all this drama, and it's just, please, children's play.
Trying to intimidate.
Kindergarten stuff.
Trying to intimidate.
Trying to intimidate. And,
But, I mean,
exactly.
To your point, absolutely, you have to traverse terror.
Oh yeah, you have to, exactly. What Christ faced, you're going to have to face the temptations and the drama, and it really feels like you're being crucified, and I mean just nailed. I mean it's no joke.
Well, I think what it does too, at least I know for here, in terms of even the physical manifestations and things that it you just feel like you have no choice, but okay, there's a few choices. You can go this direction, which we won't speak of, or go inward more and more, and surrender. And even if it's a feeling of helplessness, whatever the feeling is, just keep giving it over, surrender, and letting that go. And then eventually, I think it seems like at least the ego in there gets more and more worn out, exhausted.
Exactly. The ego will get
like,
worn out.
I can't even fight this anymore.
Exactly. And I think sometimes it's like that. Sometimes, people say, oh, yes, I'll just surrender to it. It's not that easy. One is fighting what you think is your life, but it's actually the illusion and delusion that you're fighting for.
That's such a good point. That's such a good point, Guruji. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what it comes down to. Your life, what is that really?
Exactly. You're fighting for this illusion and delusion, what you think is your life, and you think you're going to lose something. Right. And in the end, you've lost absolutely nothing.
It's just that energy that's working against itself like that. That's absolutely right. It doesn't have anything to do with your life, or it just, it has to do with
You'll find all of that when it all finally breaks and falls away, that all of that was illusion, delusion, baggage, constructed
It isn't
drama.
even about what you are, who you are.
It's not who and what you are. You are that eternal source, that eternal is. And the rest of it is a flitting, like a movie screen. It's a play. It's a play you're playing. It's a drama. It's a role you've taken on.
It doesn't have to do
for
with your
a while.
body. It doesn't have to do with who and what you are. It has
Right.
nothing to do with...
And you find out at that point it's eternal. You're eternal. There is no life. There is no death. The form comes, the form goes. New play, new drama, okay? But you've never died. There's nothing there to die. The body falls away. It's worn out like an old car. You step out of it, and then you go step, you know, or pulled into another incarnation, depending on where one is. If one is conscious, they can step into a new incarnation. If they're unconscious, by their proclivities, they're drawn back into that type of thing to continue on with what it is they're clinging to. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If they're being kind of like addicted to something, they're drawn into something, a body, very quickly. That they can continue with that type of an addiction type of a thing. You know what I mean?
Play,
drama with that play, whatever it is that they're absolutely ingrained and focused with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Usually it's to some, you know, kind of a lot of times a negative type of a thing, and they're drawn back very rapidly into another form to continue on with their drama.
No breaks there. There you go again. Welcome to your drama yet again.
Yes. Enjoy that drama.
Sure you want this?
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, you know, all you do is you just keep going day by day and surrender by surrender and continue to do the mantras and continue to do the journey. But like you said, you know, it starts out and you get a quick little glimpse, a little blip of it. And then the longer you go, the longer you have those samadhis, and the longer, and the shorter period of the other one. And so it's kind of like, it's like this, and then it goes like this, and then it goes like this, and then finally it's going to break, and you will remain in that.
Yeah, that's what's really amazing too, and that's why I would really, you know, encourage others that are going through it, where there's many days where it feels like it's not really shifting or something, and you really don't know. I mean, the very next day, I know with here it's been it's been that way. It's been kind of back and that cycle, and then, you know, a bigger circle, and then more expansive, and then it comes back again into even a constriction or this or that, and then it's out even more. So it's not like okay, now I'm on this step.
Like now I'm on this step.
No, not at all.
It's more like ring.
It is, and it's kind of
two step forwards, one step back. 2 step forwards, 1 step back.
It's kind of like, you know, you have this big ocean, and then there's some rocks dropped in it, and then there's a circle or a bigger one, and then it comes back to that stilling, and then out again. It's not a straight, steady line that way. So I at least from being on this path for so long, you just can't judge where it's at, and don't even get into it. Just continue forward and forward and forward.
Well, people that get in a path and think that within a year they're going to be realized, I got news for you, it doesn't happen like that.
Boy.
Okay.
You got to pay your dues.
You have to pay your dues. You have to actually go through the tough experiences, you know, and people, they get on a path and they think it's like the yellow brick road.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and Santa Claus with a bag of goodies, that all they're going to get is all the goodies all the time. I'm just going to be happy, 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 peaceful, peaceful, peaceful.
Right. No.
I'm going to have no hard lessons in life.
I'm just joyful. People will love being around me and just love what I have to say. And it's not true. It's almost the opposite. So they run from you sometimes. It's like, I just was sitting here.
That's it.
You never know. You know,
I'm good. I'm nice. And gosh darn it, people just like me. Stuart Smalley, the guy, when he does that's so funny.
And it's not at all that way.
It's not like that. You know, if you're on a genuine spiritual path, you're going to hit the hard road. I mean, the beginning of it, fun and games.
Definitely.
absolutely fun and games. The beginning of it,
It's
you
a
feel
high.
like you're
It's a
the
high.
You're on top of
Yeah.
the world. You got it. I mean, you can.
And
You
you
know.
got a new tool. You just sit and meditate or whatever,
Exactly.
and you got
You
it.
meditate. You can
Yeah.
manifest. You can do all these things. You know,
Yeah.
these powers are coming. You're manifesting. I'm on top of the world. Look at me, man. I have got it made.
Oh,
And
boy.
then start coming the hard lessons.
And that brings you down to earth.
And
little
then
bit.
you really start to walk the path. And, you know, it's no longer all fun and games. Now, you know, if you're serious. If you're not serious and you're just doing the ego thing, then okay, maybe you'll stay in co-creative status the rest of your life.
I don't know that one, but maybe it could be.
No.
I don't know that one.
I don't know either because I actually wanted to know God.
Yeah.
You know, beyond the absolute sincerity was I want to know God. I want to know what is this. I want to,
you really want to be out of suffering. You really.
It really, yeah.
You know.
Because when I started my path, I was really suffering.
Oh, yeah.
I had really suffered deep depressions,
Oh,
really had gone through a lot of pain and just absolutely pressure where you couldn't move. I mean, just was physically, you know, in a lot of pain and stuff. And I was like, at that point, I'll do anything to you know, move beyond this. But it's, you know, it's not a quick thing. That I've done this for lifetimes, and in this lifetime, it was a process of 40 years before it completed.
Right, it wasn't just a quick thing.
It's not. No, it's not like that. And you wake up, and all of a sudden, you know, everything's gone. And no. You got to go through all of these things, and you got to, you know, do a lot of forgiveness and things. You have to
praying,
right? surrender, forgiveness.
You really have to show it. You have to show you're made of that, and
exactly.
you know when it's
you can't fool God.
No.
You can't fool the universe.
That's for sure. You know, and that's true of here too. The depression and anxiety just was debilitating here, and to the point where I could barely function. And you know, and I know with you too, I had a child to raise, and you know, we didn't have a choice. Ours was open, and we were going through it when we had a young children to raise.
Right.
So we had to do that through it. And
this is why we don't recommend.
Definitely.
You know, if you have a choice to go and you know, want to get Kundalini awakening, not to do it if you're in the midst of family life, because it is very, very difficult. You're trying to raise a child and you're having all this phenomena happen. You're falling away. You're in your body. You're out of the body. You're having visions. You're seeing lights.
Manifestation. And there's your poor kid. You know, you don't know what you're having. And there's your poor child. And you're doing the best you can to be present for them. But God, it's like...
You walk out in your living room in the middle of the night and it's filled with a sea of silver. I mean, you know, you got, you know, buckboards appearing to you with people with a third eye. And, you know, you're having these visions and buildings are exploding and imploding and you're flying and you're, you know, in these canals of endless deep water that you can't see the end of.
You know, it's like a trip. I guess if someone was on LSD or something, I mean, it's like you're on that all the time, and you've got to try to live your life too.
Like being on a major LSD trip. I mean, your senses become so acute. To go out is painful. Like I said, being in San Francisco, some buildings built on rollers, it feels like they're swinging like this. You can barely stand up.
Yeah, see, I still have all those acute senses, and it drives me crazy. But
it's very difficult when you have those very acute senses. You go to a restaurant, and all you can hear is in the kitchen banging and clanging, and
I hear every noise and way far away, and then smells, tastes,
and tastes, and everything is overwhelming. I mean, just absolutely. People cannot grasp what it is to be in that 24/7. There is no off switch.
You pray for a salve or something to take it, may soothe it for a while. Nothing takes it away.
Just pray for a while. Just please give me a break for a while, because it's really, I mean, you know, people want to have visions and powers. Well, these powers come up. I mean, you know, again, early in my path, could control the weather. I want a parking place. Parking place is there. I want this, you know, healings. You can do healings, immediate, boom, spontaneous healings.
Yeah.
But eventually you learn, you know, when to do healings and when not to, because people at that point, nobody wanted to do their path. All they wanted to do is
if
come.
If they're healed, why worry about it?
Yeah,
too,
why do that?
Yeah.
When you can come, we can come, and you can work on
That's
me, my
right.
energetic field, and I don't have to do anything.
Right.
Well, you know, you have to do the path, so then you back off. Or you're doing healings, and you see them, they go back to the same thing that caused the problem in the first place, and they remanifest it again. So again,
it's not helpful to them.
It's not
that's
helpful.
Almost there maybe to help draw them inward if they choose. I mean,
if they choose
it to get rid of that
9
pattern.
out of 10, they don't choose to, oh, now I'm fixed, I don't have to remove that pattern.
Sure.
I'll just go back and do that again. So all you're doing is putting a bandage on that. It's not helping them to grow in the end unless they're willing at that point to change their life and go forward. And, you know, like the Bible says, repent. You don't keep doing the same action. You stop it and go in a new direction. But they don't go in a new direction sometimes. They want to go back to the same thing. Oh, great, now you fixed that. Like the ones that come to drug treatment programs, addicts. They don't actually want to get healed. They just want to dry out for a minute, have a place to go, dry out, and then go back and do it again.
And I think that's true, because in their heart is not that desire to know God. It's more to just make their life easier, or just to continue forward in their same manner, and it's not a helpful thing for them.
So it's not helpful always to sit there and do healing work, to do energetic work with these people. It's just not.
It's understood.
Just not. And so one then at that point backs off and doesn't do so much of that, you know.
And then I know you spoke on the ones with families or children or more in the world with their responsibilities to do the lighter practices. Because, I just, you know, as far as having children.
But sometimes even then,
things can open up.
Things still can open up.
If you're on this path.
If you're on this path, it can still, it can still awaken. It can still open up.
You just need to know that's part of what you're getting into. And,
exactly. You got to understand, if you're on this path and you're with a Kundalini awakened guru, it can open, you know, just by nature of that, you know, you'll feel that energetic.
Which it has with some on this journey.
Which it has. Which it has.
And you have to know that that's there, so just know what you're getting into, and
be ready for it, because it's a big ride.
It's a big balancing act with taking care of children and having all that manifestations.
It's very hard to sit there and trying to be paying attention to your job when you've got this nod ringing in your ears that's so loud that you can't hear anything else.
Really, the whole thing, you know, and both of us doing that for years and years, we know we've been through this.
Exactly. You hear chirping birds in the middle of the night. You're hearing all these sounds of the nod and all these other things going on.
You're not sleeping well, or the dreams when you wake up. I'd wake up, the dreams were so amazing.
I think the funniest one was, one of the funny ones that happened. Remember when we went in Seattle to eat at that, what was it, Moroccan place?
Yeah.
And the music starts playing.
Yeah.
And the Kundalini's going, and we're both sitting there, the bodies are going, and you can't stop it.
Yeah, it does.
It's just the Kundalini loved that music, I'm telling you, because we were both going, and
you can't help it.
You can't help it. You can't help it. Some music the Kundalini really loves, and it starts moving. And of course, your body's moving, too.
You know, it's interesting, too, because there's been times with that I've had where maybe you're just not, something was happening here where maybe I just, you know, things weren't going in consciousness or whatever, and then the dance starts, and you're at least outwardly looking so joyous, but inside, what the fuck is going on? It's so inconsistent without that, you know, you're... It's hilarious.
Things are going.
Yeah, totally. It's just, you know, it's going to do it.
And then you're doing all these mudras, all these things are going, and you're just going, okay, now what? You know,
you're just like, okay, I wanted to get this done. It doesn't happen because instead, you know, it's just, it's an interesting thing, and it's all spontaneous, people.
Exactly. It's not something, you know, these things open up. That's why I said yoga, and people that do these yoga classes, I think they got everything backwards, that there was Kundalini openings, and your body will do spontaneous yoga moves as needed to clear certain energetic pathways.
100%.
And so these came forward, and they go, that's great, and they started teaching it to other people.
As a structured
happening. But trust me, when Kundalini wakes up,
boy.
you will do yoga moves.
Oh boy.
You
Will
know.
you ever?
You will do yoga moves. You will do hand mudras. You will do spontaneous mantra. You will do spontaneous song. All of these things will take place.
Yeah, because even before meeting you, when it opened up about, like I say, 5 years before these, I had never done yoga. I just wasn't one to do that stuff. I don't even think I exercised that much. I maybe ran a little, just basic, straightforward things. But boy, when those yoga moves came, honestly, I could almost stand on my head. I felt almost like, they were all over the place. I could bend in ways I never knew I could bend. Thank goodness I was, in my
Your body becomes very
30,
limber.
so limber.
There is no way
So
I think now I could ever do one of those moves. But at that point in time, I mean, it was twisting me in all sorts of yoga moves. They just absolutely spontaneously take place. Now, if you have a Kundalini awakening and you don't know what's going on, all of a sudden your body's starting to move in yoga moves that you're not able to control. They just happen. And you're doing spontaneous hand mudras and mantra. You think you're going crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You will think you're going stark raving mad. You all of a sudden are seeing visions. You're seeing lights. You feel like your liquid fire is going up your spine, that you're going to spontaneously combust in any moment. You're having dreams of fires and snakes, chasing lots of dreams of snakes. The more Kundalini active it is, the more snakes you will dream of.
Thanks.
I remember the dream of like the house on fire and going down this boardwalk, and this big snake is right behind me the whole time.
Yeah.
And one time when Kundalini was really active and it was just going haywire, I went to get in this taxi, opened the door, and all these snakes. I mean, it was just full of snakes. Not one more snake could have been shoved in that door. All these snakes are flooding out, and it's just like. Now, I've never been one that likes snakes.
Yeah, that's a thing.
I do.
You don't want to be that up close and personal with a snake.
I never wanted to be up and close. I don't care if it's a garden snake.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
It's not something you take easily to, and that's the way that these things are.
But I mean, there's a lot of spontaneous symbolism that comes up in genuine Kundalini awakenings. Fires. You'll see snakes, you'll see fires, there's just, colors, lights, auras. You'll start seeing auras with people,
buildings.
You'll hear sounds, you'll hear spontaneous sounds of birds, crickets, that om, you'll hear that ongoing. So many things take place.
And it's constant.
It's nonstop.
That's why I know you do. You feel like you're going crazy, and you walk that line of, my gosh, am I going crazy? Or it's sometimes in ecstasy and spontaneous laughing fits, and these things that are just so wild that, and these things would be happening in the day before I picked up my child if I was at home.
Exactly.
And then I go pick up my kid.
When it opens up.
How was your day? Well,
exactly.
I didn't know what to say.
When it opens up and it's that oneness, you'll see dog shit on the thing, and you'll think it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. I mean, oh my God, it doesn't matter. When that opens up, everything is just bliss. You're a bliss monkey, everything is bliss.
But in the bottom line is these things are no joke, because sometimes there is that bliss or ecstasy, and I know people seek that, but I'm telling you, these things, with this kind of thing, it's a different thing, and I think if you really are a true seeker wanting to know, what you are at the core, those things, are not bringing you that lasting peace, and you just keep wanting to go forward out of it.
Exactly. But there's a lot of places on the path that people will think mistakenly that they're very much further along than they are. Like the first time you see light, you think, I'm enlightened. I'm enlightened. Well, you're not enlightened. I mean, enlightened is finally when you get to, that continual samadhi, moksha, gyan, that ultimate liberation. Then you're enlightened. You're starting the process of enlightenment, but you're not enlightened.
Oh gosh, that was way back. I saw those
Or
lights.
like I said, the first time when it opens up and it's all consuming, you feel that love and that oneness. You think that's it. You think that's it. Oneness is sort of like one, but it's not that actual falling away into that is. Don't confuse it. You have just begun the path.
Yeah, because things will really start. Maybe things are really just starting to heat up then. And
they're just beginning. You're in what we call the honeymoon stage.
Yeah, right, and you can, to get stuck there would be a scary thing and not a good thing for you.
No.
If you want to keep going.
But people, they want the bliss of that, and they think that's it. And, then when the actual lessons begin, they're going, what happened? What's wrong? I was, but no. That oneness and stuff is just a taste to get you to want to go forward into the deeper,
this is what could be,
deeper
so keep
things.
Coming, and, there's more beyond, which is, I feel, at least for you as a teacher, have been the main one that has, at least, from what I've read and online, have brought that to the next level. Because much of what's out there is within oneness.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the sad thing that I see, these teachers. And they get people to oneness, which is really pretty easy to do, minimal. You get the practices here, you go to oneness very, very quickly, very easily. And then they want to promote it as that's it.
Yeah.
Or the first things begin to open, like being able to manifest and doing that things. And they think, you don't know the powers I have, what's been awakened in me, Nobody could have given it to me.
And they protect it, and also when they're challenged, they go nuts. So.
Exactly. But they don't know this is part of the path. This is what happens. You're way, way, way far away from genuine realization. You are in the honeymoon stage, the very early starting point, and you think you've got it all.
And that is easy, that oneness, and I think it's just so threatening. Of course, that unknown is a whole nother ballgame.
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole nother
You enter
ballgame.
Well, that's why Kali is so fearful looking, because you have to enter that unknown, and she's time. And she can, again, Kali can either open the way or absolutely occlude it and put you in such a spin of delusion that you'll never get out of it. She can manufacture a whole lot of Maya.
And believe me, if you cannot. For eons, that's it. That's what you got going on. So.
You don't want to play with Kali, because she cannot.
You think you're in control? Think again.
You're in control. You think you're in control. She will turn you every way but loose. So those that want to play and think they know and want to try to use her as a weapon, they have no idea what they're doing, what they're playing with.
And you might have your time to play, and that's there, but it won't last. That's nothing that can be lasting. It's going to come around, and it's how things work.
Exactly. Eventually, you have to come to the harder lessons and the harder things. Again, that's why I get so upset. I watched that. I couldn't believe it again last night. That Nityananda thing, he's giving the big blessing.
Yeah.
The music comes up, so dramatic, and the hand raises slowly.
Yeah.
And he's doing like the Damaru. Now, I have the Damaru. You can bring my Damaru. It's up on the Damaru.
Right.
So he's doing the hand with the Damaru, like a Damaru. Okay? And he opens the hand. Yeah, that one. And then he does the one. It's the one. And he shakes it. oh, the Shakti's building, and he throws it out. And then you have the big light show come up.
Is this the one?
Yeah, the skull.
Do you want both of these?
No, just the one. Just the skull one.
Oh, I don't know if this is the...
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So anyway, when he's doing that, he's supposed to be representing Tandava, or the Shiva, that brings existence into being and takes it out, the Damaru. Anyway, it's the beginning, the end of creation, the sound of the yom. It represents also the language, which again is divided, brings the world into cognition. Okay, but the Damaru, this one is a tantric Buddhist type. It's made from skulls, a male and a female skull. Yes, genuine skulls, wrapped with silver. Okay, inside of it has mantras that they put for feminine and male mantras are written inside of them. They have a process where they take the skin and they bury it for so long with copper and other elements and things, and then they stretch it. And then it's very specific. When they make these damarus, they're always crochet at the end. It's supposed to look like sort of like an eye, all-seeing eye. Anyway, these are very hard to get the real deal. But it's supposed to, again, represent creation coming into effect and dissolving and coming into effect and dissolving, and then again the nod and also the alphabet and all of the words bring cognition, divide it into existence, etc. So the skulls are usually, I think they have to be under the age of 16. They have
That's
to
what
have
you were saying, 16. Yeah.
16,
15,
16, young adult, and they have to have died in specific ways. Yeah. Yeah, they have to have had a certain type of a death. They don't kill them. So before you're thinking they're out sacrificing kids to make these, they're not sacrificing them. Usually the ones that they take the skulls and donating them from ones that have been doing Cho type of practices, which is a Buddhist tradition. And this is one thing that awakened in me, so long ago, which really kind of started very early part of my existence, was seeing, going back into past life, former life, and seeing this chode, doing this chode, C-H-O-D, chode ceremony. And I had no cognition of any of this in this type of life, absolutely. From the family I came from, they were not spiritual. I mean, absolutely nothing, but absolutely saw myself doing this ceremony, this chode, and absolutely losing my mind in that existence. I didn't make it through, because what you do is you offer your body to these elements and demons and stuff, and they come and feed on the body, and it became very real to me, and I lost my mind. But it's a way, again, to confront these energies and to go beyond it and see the illusion of it. Well, I got caught up in it in that lifetime and didn't make it through. So, needless to say, I'm seeing this and I'm going, what the heck? I never knew something like that existed. I went to a library and found out it's called the chode. Actually, it is a practice. It's a Buddhist practice. So, yes, I was before, in a former life, a tantric, Buddhist, but I had known that anyway, many lifetimes, many lifetimes, many lifetimes. but saw that experience and that lifetime. Didn't complete, so again, you come in and you get another chance to complete. Here comes another form. Here we go again.
There's another opportunity.
Good
luck.
The continuing saga.
Kind of, good luck.
But yeah, in that lifetime was Tibetan, living out in the Himalayas, was doing that, it was a monk. I was in there doing that ceremony, the chode, and absolutely lost my mind. 100% stonewall crazy. I went absolutely crazy in that lifetime. Yeah.
If you didn't have the right.
Because I didn't have the right grounding to understand that these are simply energies, and I took it to be the reality.
Well, they came again, and then you were able to
they
look
came
at it,
again.
right?
Yes, they came again. Of course it comes again.
They didn't forget about you.
You don't get out of it. You have to face it again.
Again.
You have to face it again, and these energies will come again.
That's
and this time was able to understand. These are energies and was able to not give it any cognition, not to feed it, not to run from it, not to if you feed it, it grows. You fear it, it grows. You love it, it grows. Anything, any type of energetic thing you put towards it, it will grow, feed off of it, and will energize it. So you give it no energy at all.
No, that's true of ego, too.
Same as ego.
It's the exact same. It'll grow with the slightest bit of energy put into it.
Exactly. Ego will continue to grow.
And take advantage of that, and boom.
Well, exactly. And again, this is, we're back to Kali again.
Yeah.
Why do I have Kali? Gee, I don't know. Why is my spiritual name actually the wisdom of the enlightened Kali? The enlightened bliss and wisdom of Kali. That's my spiritual name. Okay, so those that want to come and say, Kali is telling me you're a demon. Might want to look at that. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, that's actually is my spiritual name, which I don't put out there and use, But anyway, again, if you read the Kundalini Path, and I think that's something I need to go through again. That's one text that's really, really beneficial for people to understand is the Kundalini Path, because it talks about the spiritual tools that you use, observation and prayer and surrender, and all of these tools that you use to fight these demonic beings, this demonic energies of arrogance and anger and drama and all this action and jealousy and all these nasty things that come up, and how to not let the mind sit there like they cut the head off of one demon and the blood spurts, and that's why you have Chi Namaste that sits there and drinks the blood right away. In other words, you nip it in the bud. You don't let it germinate again, because one of those thoughts germinate and it causes 10 more, 12 more of the same drama, even more so. So all of these things in that one text are absolutely a path to realization. Okay? And like I said, if you want to understand what you have to go through in a Kundalini awakening, I think the other text we'll go through is the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Meanwhile, back in Tibet, here I am back in Tibet. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, when I read it, it was like, oh my God. Some people do this at death, and they read that book at the death. They'll sit by this body and read this book as to what's going to come, what's going to come, what phenomenon is going to come, and how to deal with it. Now, if you have Kundalini, you're going through that now. You do it consciously while you're in form, before you pass out of this form at death, okay? So, again, very important text for those that are in Kundalini awakenings. genuine Kundalini awakenings. I'm not talking about a pranic blip. Okay? Wow, I felt something once. I must have Kundalini awakening. So I think we'll close this out now. Right? We've covered a lot of ground.
I know it went on. That's good though.
Hopefully. I think it's really beneficial for one. If you want to know the real deal, the real path, what you go through,
Right.
what are the experiences, you know, this is not the constructed show that you paid $13,000 to come watch, complete with sound and lights and light shows and drama and beating drums to keep your energy. We don't have any of that. This is just the real deal spiritual path that one is in 24/7. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a Kundalini awakening and you are sincere of heart and you want to go forward to know God and enter moksha and have that liberation. Okay? We will leave that here. Namaste.